and good evening, one and all in YouTube land and every other land there is. It is Thursday, Telly Thursday, September 30th.
That's right, Teles. They're not just for Tuesdays anymore.
That's right. You're damn right. They're for all week long. And you're tuned into Nez Says, a place where musicians get together to inspire each other to play more Telecasters, amongst other guitars. Tonight, as
There
always,
is no other guitars.
we have the illustrious Ben Coombs. How you doing, Ben?
Not too shabby, David. Not too shabby. Definitely, we're going to be talking Teles because, as far as I'm concerned, tonight no other guitar exists. Well, no, because you can get a single coil, you can get actives, you can get humbuckers, you can get P90s, all in your favorite Tele shape form, which is the best form. You can even get them with a wiggle stick if you wanted to. And we're going to get into that and much more because we've got another Tele head. This gentleman I've known for upwards of 22 minutes now, Joe Zogby, a legend in Dave Nesdall's head, and it's just creeping into mine as well. Dave, tell us a little bit more about Joe.
Well, Joe has been a friend of mine for over 30 years. And I know I keep saying that about most of my friends because I keep my friends for a very long time. I meet them, we become friends, and then we stay friends forever. Joe is currently playing in a country line dance type band, and they're very active here on Long Island and Manhattan. Joe plays, I don't know what, 60 or 70 shows a year.
Oh, yeah.
Somewhere around there, or upwards of that amount. He's a really good guitar player. He plays exceptionally well on a Telecaster. He makes it sound like a Telecaster should. Joe and I have played in a project back in the early 90s where we recorded some songs with a musician / police officer.
Eddie Money?
A lot of fun. No, he's not that known, but the songs were very fun. They were cool and fun. And you know, the session was great. I was very young and, you know, thought who I was, and I wasn't. But it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun and a learning experience. Note, don't try to play Van Halen riffs in a country band. Anyway, Joe Zogby, Joe Zogby, everybody. First day with my new lips. And it'll be fun. We'll be talking about Telecasters all night. By the way, Ty Price is on assignment this evening, so he will not.
He's researching Telecasters tonight, Dave.
Yes, he will be watching Telecaster changes each song this evening with Keith Richards, Ronnie Wood, and Mick Jagger, and the rest of the bunch. So yeah, he's at the Rolling Stones concert tonight. That lucky fuck, he is.
Tell me about it. I think it's only like their second or third show.
No, I think it's show number 4 actually. But
okay,
whatever.
Because I remember St. Louis. I saw a bunch of stuff on St. Louis the other day. So
yeah, I saw that show, and I saw it on whatever songs were on YouTube. And my God, are they really good? Keith Richards. It looks like he is. Now I can't say this for a fact, but it looks like he is totally sober, because he is playing so well, so clean. The guitar is lower this tour than it ever has been on his body. It's down to his kneecaps. And every guitar is a vintage guitar. There is nothing new that he's playing. He's playing like 6 or 7 different Telecasters. He's playing 2 Les Paul Juniors and his 355, the 59 355.
Right.
Plus other songs. Plus other guitars that I have not seen yet, but his guitar boat is filled with nothing but cool guitars.
I agree on that, yes. And as far as I can attest, I'm 99% sure, Dave, I agree. Keith is, in fact, sober on stage. He started doing that a couple of years ago for the first time ever. Why not give it a whirl? And I remember a reporter asked him, so how is the life of sobriety, Mr. Richards? And in typical Keith Richards fashion, he says, I'm only sober on stage, mate.
Well, another cool thing about Keith right now is, yes, he has the gray hair, but the cool thing is I don't think he cut it himself this time because it looks cool. It looks like old Keith Richards. It doesn't look like it's all over the place. It's very cool.
That's awesome. Years ago, I played in a Stones tribute band, and it was one of my first forays into the tribute world. And I didn't really understand it. And then one of the guys in the band who actually played with a band called Sticky Fingers that was really into this whole thing, and he kind of explained how it was supposed to work. He said anybody can play the songs, but you have to be what he called Stonesy. So when you're playing, and I'm a telly guy. He says, when you're doing that, just watch what Keith does. Watch what Mick Taylor did when he was with them, right? And all of that, it has to come together to give the illusion that you're actually playing with the Stones.
Yes, even the movements, even the movements, the way they do it. It's part of the gift.
It's so much less. When our friend Joe DeMayo, when I was studying with him, he would tell me, less is more. He says, don't do all this. He says, that's all great. Take 75% of the crap you just did and get rid of it. Right. And then just let that ring. Let that Keith part of you, or Keith, let that just happen and let it ring, because that'll make people believe that or it'll feel like the Stones. It's very cool.
Don't be afraid to play well behind the beat.
All right. So listen, before we get started tonight, let's say hello to the guys and the girls in the chat. Go ahead, Ben.
All right. At the bottom and working our way back up to the top, I know it's more of a Beatles reference, but I use it every week. Why? Because it works. Guitar Man 45 is here from Detroit Rock City. We have the one and only legendary Cameron Brown in the house.
Cameron Brown, probably one of the best guitar players on the planet.
Cool.
Ridiculous rock.
I agree on that.
Player. His finger, if I had half his fingers, I would shoot my hand off.
We got Joe DeMayo in the chat, fellow Tony lover, and apparently knows a thing or two about the Stones. So, Joe, you're awesome. Love you. I'm going to say we have Christine in the chat as well, because Joe's hijacked Christine's account, apparently, at the very least. We have Thomas Santiago tuning in from the greater Buffalo area, because I've never quite pinned down if he's within the city limits. That's okay. He likes to keep it mysterious. Sure. Terry's 3Gs. Well, he's from the Great White North, because he's awesome. The hitman himself, Dwight Bailey, who I believe is out of Mississippi.
Hey, Dwight.
Tim Thomas, parts unknown, because I can never remember where Tim's out of. We have Music Therapy Laz, who's pretty much from the Southwest, we'll say, Dave, because he's been on quite the road trip. I know he started in the Bay Area. He ended up at the Grand Canyon. Now he's back up in the Bay Area. So Laz from the West Coast and the Southwest. Yep. Let's see. Who else do we have here? We have Joshua Jones. Speaking of guys with fingers I'd like to borrow for, a career or two, Joshua Jones in the chat.
Yeah, he's another awesome guitar player. Like, really, he's very young in age. He is one of the nicest guys on the planet and an awesome guitar player, and it doesn't go to his head. It's very cool.
I can tell Joshua Jones something about himself that he doesn't know that I know, and that is when Joshua Jones was at the last Winter NAMM show, he was standing there patiently waiting to try the new Frankie guitar, and some long-haired guy who doesn't even know how to use a wiggle stick was sitting there playing and noodling away on it, and he's kind of like giving the guy the look like, you're going to be done because I know how to use it, and you clearly don't. So I stood up and I handed him the Frankie. So we have met, Josh. We have met. Let's see. Who else do we have in here?
David Scher.
Dan of New Jersey is in here. Michael B. Michael B was hanging out on my channel last Sunday night.
Oh, very cool.
75N.
Bruce Brooks from Long Island.
Bruce Brooks. Papa Blue is here.
Other Long Island.
Let's see. Who else do we have in here?
Fruitcake Tony.
Fruitcake Tony.
What are you doing here? Wait a second. Tonight isn't the Guns N' Roses show.
Yeah, he's watching us, but I'm sure he has the subtitles turned on because he can't hear us because he went to see GNR last night.
That's right.
Apparently Josh does remember me. Great. And we have Kurt 5150 here. Awesome. There we go.
Joe DeMeo, Zogby will talk. We're just saying hello to everyone in the chat right now.
I saw that.
Zogby probably doesn't have the chat open to
I
see
do
it.
now.
You do? Okay,
I
good.
do now, yeah.
Nice.
Very cool.
Awesome. Yeah. So if you have any questions for any of us, ask away, tag us, put some question marks in the front, stand out with a super chat if you want. That's fine. We don't complain. It all goes right back into the channel.
That's right.
Also, any comments regarding Telecasters, comment away. Although I will say, if it's a negative comment regarding Teles, it might get jumped on by the chat. Not by us, but by the chat. Saying they're a passionate bunch.
Anyway, so Joe,
Sir.
tell us a little bit about yourself, your humble beginnings as a guitar player, what led you to the Telecaster, how many different types of guitars did you play before you came upon the Telecaster, all stuff like that.
Oh goodness. Okay. Well, I've been playing since I'm 10, and I turned 59 yesterday. So it's almost, well, thank you, sir. It's almost 50 years of doing this. So I started playing when my St. Irish mother brought a guitar home when I was 10 years old, and started playing "Hang Down Your Head, Tom Dooley." It's hysterical now in the good old days, but she would hang down your head, Tom, as she's trying to change chords, right? So anyway, and that became the running joke in my family, and my mom is still with us, thank God, and now when I play, I actually was playing with a country band, and she came to dinner at the place, and we did this song for her. It was really kind of cool. So the first guitar I ever got, I remember the first electric guitar I ever got, I should say, was a knockoff white Telecaster. I still have the body over on my workbench. Don't ask me where the neck is or where anything else is, but I have the body. So I got that, and one of my favorite guitar players in the world, Brad Paisley, described Telecasters as a cutting board with a neck, and I just like that whole thing. But I've had Teles throughout my entire career, my entire life of playing guitar. I've tried Strats, I've had Les Pauls, I've had PRSs. I've had, I don't even know how many of them. Great guitars, don't get me wrong. Love them. They're a lot of fun. I always wind up back playing the Telecaster. It just feels right, and especially the kind of music I love to play. Back in the good, I was playing all along, kind of noodling, kind of doing a thing. And Dave, when you and I met, we were doing those things at Cove City. That was where that session was, and I had never been in a real studio before, and I didn't know who Richie was. He showed up one day with a horn. I'm like, hey, who's this guy? It's like, oh yeah, well, he owns the place. He plays with Billy. It's that kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, okay. And it's that whole thing is funny because I don't know who anybody is. I know my friends. I was asked on one time, says, who are your influences? I said, well, what do you mean? He says, well, what guitar players are your influences? And I'm like, well, the people that I know for the most part, I can call them up and say, how'd you do that? Or show me that. Everybody's a Clapton fan, and everybody's a Danny Gatton fan, and that's great. And they're amazing players to watch on YouTube. But when I can go somewhere and say, how you doing, man? Hey, Joe, did you bring your guitar? Sit in with us, and I can sit there this close and watch what they're doing. Now we're talking. So that's and I kind of it led me to the telly over everything. I'll tell you a story. You'll love this. Back in the good old days, in a place called the Yankee Peddler in Merrick, I was there with a buddy of mine, Huey Carroll, and his friend Tommy Burns, and that's where I met Huey, and I met Tommy. We're still all great friends. And Tommy was playing a Telecaster with Huey. Huey was playing acoustic, and Tommy was playing a telly. It was a Schecter telly that he got from Brian, of all people. I mean, I don't know who anybody is, so I'm like, who's that guy?
So you need to, first of all, when you're throwing those names out, you need to mention the last names.
Okay. I didn't know if you wanted me to do that or not. Okay.
You're more than welcome to. This is going all. This is international.
Okay. I got. I wasn't sure how this was.
Oh
going.
Yeah. So
okay.
Tommy Burns,
Long Island. Yeah, Long Island has a myriad of amazing musicians, right? It really does. Now, my buddy Huey Carroll, he owns a spot now in Freeport. He's with a band called the Wreckers now, still out there with Phil Barker and Tony Masia playing. They're just killing the whole rockabilly thing. They've been doing it for 30-something years. I met them when they were starting this stuff, playing with Brian Setzer, right? Back in the day, because Brian's a local guy. And Tommy was playing with Brian. And it was just, you walk into a bar like that place was, and it was cool and it was fun, but it was a bar, it's a bar in Merrick. And you walk in and there's Tommy Burns, who now has been playing with Billy Joel for the past 30-something years. One of the best guitar players I've ever seen in my life. And you sit there with your mouth open going, on one of two things is going to happen here. I either quit, I'm going home, I'm putting all my crap out in the front yard for the garbage men to take it, or I got to get to work. And the cool thing is Tommy and I are still great friends, and it's just an amazing. Now that we're all old and we all have kids, and we all have, we're all kids are grown, that kind of stuff. That's kind of neat. But back then, watching these guys play was just absolutely stunning. What they were getting away with, and Tommy was playing a black Schecter Telecaster, right? So, and it was just amazing to watch him play.
Like a Pete Townsend, correct?
Yes, exactly. In fact, if you see any of the old Brian Setzer, like from Live Aid, right, from '84, that's when Van Halen did his thing with Sammy Hagar. At that one, Tommy was there playing with Brian. And
Farm Aid.
I'm sorry, I'm far. Yes, Farm Aid. And it was just absolutely amazing what they were doing, and the musicianship was just top notch. So, I was always enamored with that kind of thing. It says, okay, I got to learn this. And like I said, I've tried other guitars, and I keep morphing back to Telecasters, because it's just one of the things I find about Teles is you got to play them. They don't play themselves. You got to play that guitar. You have to work that thing. You have to learn that. You have to learn every fret, every note. And every Teles a little bit different. I like this one we were looking at before. I have one of these Matt Brewster ones right here. I found it in Guitar Center, and the thing's a home run, right? So it's my number one guitar. I play it with Urban Rodeo, the line dancing country band. That's the one I use almost all the time. Like I found another one and I played it and wasn't the same.
Mm-hmm.
This is my guitar.
Every guitar it can be the same exact guitar. They're all gonna be different. Our buddy Joe DeMeo says, Christmas 1975, he was 11, got his first Tele. His father said, his father, who is also a guitar player, told him, Joey, there are two kinds of guitar players in the world: those who can play a Tele, and then there's everyone else. And that is just true.
It's so true.
And that, and also, like you were saying, you got to fight them a little, and that ties in with Michael Biadaski. He says, "Comfort cuts on the Tele. Discuss. I cut mine." You know what? When it comes to a belly cut or a gut cut, it doesn't mean anything to me. Although I am starting to get it to where it might work in my benefit slowly, but I will say, only because I have burnt my forearm on a lot of guitars over the years, that when I designed my signature guitar, you can see there is a slight arm cut to it.
I see it. Yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
How do you like the P90s in it?
I love it. Although I do have another P90 to put in the bridge, because I designed these P90s and I wanted something a little hairier. So I did an overwound P90.
Okay.
Great at practice, great at home. On stage, though, it's a feedback machine. So really? we have a stacked P90 for me to put in this thing that it's been sitting in a box in the studio here for a year. I just haven't gotten around to putting it in yet to let the designer know, switch over to that for the signature model. But other than that, traditional P90 in the neck. Extra couple K. It's like a 9.7 output on the bridge. So she can get a little snarly, and I love it. I absolutely do love P90s in a Tele. We only went for that because my best friend and guitar player in my band at the time, he said, we're designing pickups. I said, I'm having to build a Tele, blah, blah, blah. And he says, I don't know what kind of pickups. He goes, well, you already got a single coil. You already got a humbucker Tele. You got actives. Why don't you do a P90? And I did it. And I went, yep, that works. That works. Mm-hmm. So definitely. Bruce has 4 Teles.
Yeah. Nice. Read it.
For 96 50th anniversary American Standard, nice. A 72 thin line reissue, perfect. Thin line with P90s, parts caster, of course, with a tele body. 84 USA Strat neck, Texas special pickups, Duncan SL59 middle pickup, and a Bigsby. Nice.
Awesome.
That covers a lot of territory.
With Bigsby's.
Bo Zeke says some funny stuff. He says, I'm here because I'm a fan of the show, but I think everyone knows here how I feel about Teles. What is understood doesn't need to be discussed, as far as Sammy Hagar says anyway. That's very true.
Bo Zeke, you should still have one in the collection just to hate. Just out of spite. And Paul Fuchs, I think, wins the chat because he mentioned earlier he has 17 Teles.
Yeah, Paul, do you want to come on? Let me know if you want to come on, and I'll send you a link. We'd love to hear and see some of those Teles. We'd love to hear about them. Let me know what you think. We could do, if you don't want to do it tonight, we can do a part 2 at some point and have you on. Just let me know what you think.
That's okay too. Josh says, I'll say this, even though we're talking Teles, the best guitarists he's ever heard in person are almost always Les Pauls.
Well, sure. A Telecaster is basically a very thin sounding Les Paul because at the time, the Les Paul was Gibson's answer to the Telecaster.
Yep.
It really was. And if you listen to the two guitars side by side, a Les Paul is just a beefy sounding Telecaster.
Exactly. Hey, we got Tom in the chat.
Hey, Ben.
Tom in here. I think Tom has a Tele. I'm not sure, though.
Bruce Brooks wants to talk about Strats next week. I don't think we have a problem with that.
Sure.
We've talked about Strats before, and we will always talk about Strats.
I only have
those. So why don't we get into this a little bit? Yes. Joe, show us some of your Telecasters and tell us about each one of them, will you?
Sure. Like I said, I started off with this one. This is the Matt Brewster Telecaster. It's a Rust 30th Street. I found it in Guitar Center right here in Comac, and it just felt right. But the next one, the one I've had the longest.
That's the one I'm curious about.
Yeah, this was built by a fellow by the name of Billy Bonensinger. Billy built this guitar back in 1987. Okay, wow. So I was at the Yankee Peddler in Merrick, right? And he walks in with this thing, and I was playing with Huey Carroll. And he goes, I want to show you this guitar that I built, and I didn't know who he was or anything. And I looked at it, and I went up and down the neck, and the neck was about, you see how thin it is now, but the neck was about there. It was like this giant U-shaped thing. And I was like, I don't like the neck. He came back the next week, and he hands this thing to me. He goes, what do you think now? I said, how much you want for it? And he said $400, and I went right to the ATM, and I took $400 out, and I gave it to him, and I've had it ever since.
Yeah, holy crap! Take care of him.
And it's a custom make. He's a luthier. He builds nothing but acoustics now, and he builds great stuff. Joe Vicino has one of his acoustics.
So does Andy Alador.
Yes. So you know who Billy is. So I've had
EMGs in it.
I have EMGs in this now. Yeah.
Wrong with that.
I have the original.
That one.
Oh, this thing's a lot of fun.
Those are an underrated set of pickups.
Oh, you know what? Joe DeMeo was telling me about EMGs. He loaned me one. The Strat that I have is actually his, and he says, you need a Strat. And he comes over and he hands me a Strat. Right? Joe probably has 50 of them, but it doesn't matter. The guy gave me a Strat, So, and it has EMGs in it. And I always thought EMGs was a metal thing, and I'm not a metal guy. So, what do I know about that kind of stuff? So I played it, and they're dead quiet. I was like, okay, this part I kind of like. Because Telecasters, you plug in next to the popcorn machine in a bar, and that thing's just going to whine and hum and buzz and do all kinds of weird stuff. So, all right, the next one I'm going to show you is this one. This is a Richie Kotzen Tele Japan.
Yeah.
Just picked this up again. I got it from All Music in Plainview. Yes. Guy Brogdon says, you got to play this thing, man. And you guys know Guy, I'm sure. Right, so.
Guy was in Scatterbrain for those who rock guys.
Yes. So
he still is actually when they play.
Oh, is he really?
I think so.
Guy's a great guy. He's a home run. He really is.
Yeah.
So yeah, this guitar, I'm pretty sure it's a quarter sawn maple neck, one piece.
Yep.
It just plays
It's
phenomenally.
baseball bat.
Yeah, that's a thick neck, that thing. But I got hands like a gorilla, so it kind of fits me perfectly. And I put, because I can't leave anything alone. Dave, I know you understand. So I pulled the DiMaggio's out of it because I'm not a DiMaggio fan, but I am a fan of. I put Van Zants in here. Right. So, and I changed the wiring out. So it's now it sounds like like for me, it sounds like a proper country Telecaster. Right. It's not a screaming. I have a Les Paul over there somewhere if I want to do loud stuff.
I dig it.
And then I have this one. Now this guitar, it's a Walla Walla body.
Oh, hang on a second. I love that guitar, and All Music carries Walla Walla stuff.
Yes,
that guitar is probably 5 pounds, right?
Yeah, weighs nothing. Now,
yes.
All Music actually built this one. All right, you can see the All Music on the back, right there. I saw this online because I'm always looking, like all of us. I'm looking at Guitar Center. I'm looking at All Music. I'm looking at Reverb. You know, when am I going to get my next deal? And it's got a Wormouth neck on it, right? And it's got Planet Wave tuners, and it's got that belly cut you were talking about. So I went and I played it, you know, and I was like, "Oh my God, this thing sounds amazing!" And it just feels right. It's different though. It's more of a Les Paul. What do you call it? Radio? Not a radius. So it's like the 24.5 instead of 5.
Scale.
So it's a little bit shorter scale, but I didn't have one like it. And I played it, and I said, I don't. Well, how much is it? I'm taking it home. I don't care. My poor wife. She really is a homer. She puts up with a lot of that kind of nonsense. You know, I'd be coming home with another guitar. She goes, "Really, another one?" Well, but she did tell me once. She said we was talking in my living room having coffee, and she goes, "You know, there's an open spot over here for another guitar." I was like, "That's my bride," you know.
So those of you that don't know the Walla Walla guitars, the bodies are made from, I guess, either you know, those barrels, like wine barrels and stuff, you know, go over the falls in a barrel type. If you've ever seen cartoons of like Bugs Bunny go over the Niagara Falls in a barrel, it's made from barrels like that. So that's why the guitar is so light. They are also amazing guitars. They're in the $2,000 range usually. And they're super light. They're resonant like you can't believe. They're great guitars. So check them out, Walla Walla guitars. And they usually have some sort of writing on the face of them. You know, like I don't know. They do etching. I've seen one of like Texas plains on it, or cactuses and all kinds of stuff. They do all kinds of cool stuff. So yeah, that is a very cool guitar, Joe.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I love that. I saw it on his website, and I had to go over there and play it. And now it's here.
I get it.
It's one of those. It's like, do I really need another Telecaster? No. Is it coming home with me? Yeah. You know, so it's
all about the variants. That's how I justify it. Well, this one isn't quite the same, you know. And Dave, I know you've done that, but I don't have it in a maple fretboard. Or
look, I do that.
I have it in a maple. I don't have it in rosewood.
I do it with every guitar. I usually buy two. If I buy a guitar, I usually buy two of them, one in each neck style, fretboard style. Sometimes I buy more than that, but usually I buy either a maple neck, and then I got to find the rosewood fretboard version of that, and that's how I do things.
I get it.
Dave, can I ask you something?
Absolutely.
All right. Like you know this about me. I always have one or two guitars in various states of disassembly because I want to try different things, either new pickups, new necks, and I'm looking for that neck to put on a guitar. You know the guitar I'm talking about. It's got a P90 in it. It's actually a gold foil P90, and it's got a Gemini in the thing. The body is great. The neck I'm not so happy with. So as far as aftermarket necks for Telecasters, because we've all screwed them together, right? And then we all know how to do a setup. You have to do that, or else you're going to go broke giving them to. I've walked into. You remember Joe Bavona?
I sure do.
Yeah, Joe moved to Tennessee and he's doing guitar work down there. But he used to live around the corner from me, and I would do something with a guitar, and then I would go and hand this, and go like this. Can you fix this? And then after like the 5th time I did that, he said, "Come into my shop, and I'm going to show you how to do this." And he did, and thank God he did. So,
so yes, I do have. Now, there's good and bad in what I'm about to say. The good thing is when you actually get the neck, you are absolutely going to love it, because I have them on all my my custom builds. Musicraft makes the best replica necks. So, and they give you a checklist of exactly what you're looking for. You can pick whatever you want when you build your own neck. They do either a 50s or a 60s. The fret wire you want, the fretboard you want, the fretboard radius you want, whether you want maple, rosewood, or ebony fretboard, the contour of the back of the neck, whether you want AAA flame, you want quarter sawn, you want flat sawn, you want blah, 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 21, 22, 24 fret, whatever you want, they will make it. The downside is right now they're at an 18-week wait. That's how busy they are.
Okay.
But
I guess it's worth waiting for when it's
worth waiting for, because let me show you something. This is a neck I just got from them. Now this is going on my Brad Gillis replica that we're in the midst of building right now. And this is a 1962 Strat neck with 22 frets on it, because Brad had 22 frets put on. It's made for a Floyd Rose shelf.
okay.
The contours are all correct. It is amazing. It is a 62 Strat in feel, very thin in the back, 1 5/8 at the nut, 6,100 frets, clay dot markers. Look at that rosewood. If you hang on, let me get this a little closer.
That's a nice piece of rosewood. That reminds me of. Yeah.
That's really sweet.
And look at the quarter sawn piece of maple that I got.
Beautiful. That is gorgeous.
So this was 16 weeks. This was 16 weeks. And my God, it's incredible. I cannot wait for it to be on that guitar.
Now that came unfinished, right?
This is unfinished because his guitar, the whole neck is painted black. So this is all going to get painted black, the back of it, the headstock, everything. I've got the decal already for it. I've got everything I need to start this build. But my partner, who works at Well Strung Guitars during the week, he's a little busy with that, and then he's got paying customers that come first. So my partner, I'm not really a paying customer, so I have to wait a little bit, but I'll have that guitar by Christmas.
All right, I got a neck to plug as well. Friend of the channel as well. Somebody mentioned in the chat that Adam Reaver over at Effutone carrying Mighty Might necks for Teles, but he also does boogie bodies. And I was able to procure this beautiful.
Oh my God! Hang on. Let me get you on there.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah. I got it for a build, and I don't know. This might just stay on a project of mine. So
you can store that in my house if you'd like.
I bet. yeah. She's a nice one. I just gotta drill it out and then drill out for the tuners.
Well, that's the cool thing about the Musicraft stuff is you can get it undrilled or you can get it drilled. I got mine drilled because they do it right. The holes are not too big. The screws will not keep turning. You know, they do it all correct. They really do. And again, Adam at Effutone is a sponsor of this show, and his stuff is also really good. Really good.
Yeah. I have a drill press. I just don't have the set of balls big enough to drill it yet. So I'm working on it. And I want to say hey to Brendan B. Squared, aka Butt Cheeks, in the chat. Anthony's got to go. He's got a gig. That's a valid reason to leave early. Blackjack Guitar is here, and so is
Hey, Blackjack, how are you? Brendan B Squared, thank you for showing up. Anthony is here.
Yeah, Anthony's here, and then he's got to go apparently.
Oh
That's
yeah,
okay.
yeah. I believe that's Anthony Steele. I believe.
Oh,
Is it?
Okay.
I believe it is.
I think we both spoke to Anthony today.
Yeah.
Anthony's a great guy.
Let's see. Let's talk to some of these other people in here. Kurt 5150 says he has a Warmouth maple neck on his 5150 replica. Very cool.
Nice.
Joe DeMeo asks, is Musicraft better or as good as Warmouth? In my opinion, Musicraft is better because they give you more choices on how you build your own neck.
I agree.
Warmouth has a couple of things they'll do, but it's not truly a custom neck because they give you a couple of things that they'll give you. Musicraft, there is a good 30 different options for just neck shape alone. You can roll the edges with Musicraft. You can semi-roll edges. You can have no rolled edges. You can have any fret wire you want. You can have unfinished, satin finished, gloss finish. You can have standard, like the split post Fender style tuners, or you can have the larger hole for Schaller or Godot tuners. You can have any bone nut, micarta nut. I believe you can even have graphite nut. You can have your choice of where you want the truss rod adjustment. You may even be able to have your choice of truss rod, whether it be dual action or single action. There's just a whole bunch of stuff that Musicraft gives you. And yeah, there are some upcharges. Like I said, you can get like 5A flame for the whole neck, which is a little bit of an upcharge. You can get quarter sawn or flat sawn or rift sawn. Quarter sawn is going to be like a little bit more money because it's more stable. It's they ruin more wood to get to the best part to get it quarter sawn. So they're wasting a lot more wood to get to the better part of it. Keith Campbell is here. Hello, Keith. Gear Junkie 35 is here.
Dave Ennis is here, and Janice is here.
Absolutely. Hey, Janice. It's nice to see everyone. We have 38 people here. I'm not sure how many thumbs up we have because I'm not looking at that part, but thank you for everything.
We can always use more, and if you're new, please subscribe as well.
Oh, yeah. Those of you who don't know who our guest is tonight, it's my buddy Joe Zogby, who I've known for over 30 years. He's an avid Telecaster player, plays in a very hard-working line dance country-style band, and he does open mics, and he's also available for hire for anything else.
I am.
Great all-around guitar player. You want to play 70s classic rock, he'll do it. Keith Campbell with the $10 super chat. Thank you so much.
Keith.
Appreciate it. And let me put that up here for everyone to
Appreciate
read.
that, my friend.
Says, good evening, all, with the big thumbs up. And I think there's a couple beers in there.
He's got a couple cold snacks on the go. Well, I can drink to that.
Very nice. If you guys and girls feel like contributing to the show with a little bit of a super chat or however you'd like, it is not mandatory by no means. But when you do that, you're helping this show stay alive because every bit of that money goes back into StreamYard and what we need to do this show. So none of it goes in our pockets. We do not get paid for this.
I'm here for the conversation.
It's all about fun. And if you wish to help out with the show like that, it's appreciated, but not mandatory. So Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
That every week you learn something new. At least I do. So
absolutely,
you do too, folks.
So Ben,
yes.
I know we've gone over your guitars before. Let's talk about some of your Teles, shall we?
Okay. Well, we touched on the signature guitar, but I will just say a couple more things about it because it is an unfinished maple neck, Canadian maple. And it's got a Honduran mahogany body. So it's kind of a Les Paul disguised as a Tele in some ways. But of course, we got a Tessie kill switch, 4-way switch, because I love 4-way switches. Because if you're going to wire a 3-way switch, you might as well wire a 4-way switch. Oh, next in the rotation, we're going in reverse chronological order. This is my 2015 made in Mexico. Double humbucker. They're Fender blacktop pickups. They have about 15K output, so high output. Excuse me. But it's okay because you got the coil tap. And you still got a nice 7.5K output on your single coils, so you can get right in there. I have put a roller saddle bridge on it because why not? It's got a Tessie switch as well. Only a 3-way switch, but that's okay.
Oh, you know what I just noticed? I spy a 3-way switch on an angle, so it's easy to get to. How cool is that?
Yes. Once again, thanks Brad Guitar Miller for making my control plates for me. He's done a few of them for me, and yeah, that one was the angled one, so we ended up on here for something a little different, and I dig it. Not that I hit it a whole lot, but I do dig it. One of my favorite piece of rosewood. It's such a tight grain. It's almost ebony-like. I really love it. And this, it does have a belly cut as well. 2015, like I say, made in Mexico. And crazy enough, my number one. Not that I'm one of the guys, I don't mind taking a vintage guitar out to a gig, but for some reason, the neck is just a hair smaller than the 60s ones, which we'll get to in a moment. And I don't know. And it's got small vintage. It's like one of the few times they did small frets in a Tele, in a modern Tele, for whatever reason. And I went in a music store and I went, I have to have that, but it was priced a little out of my price range. And I lusted over this thing for 6 months, bought another Tele, had a problem. Fender stepped up because they couldn't replace it because it was a discontinued model. And they said, here, take this one instead. And I always say karma is real, and karma, yeah. So I ended up with it regardless.
Very cool. I like the belly cut. I think that's very cool. While you're getting your other guitar, I've played in the past the only, and I mean the only, original 1957 two-tone Sunburst Telecaster with an arm cut and a belly cut. It's the only one that Fender ever made. My friend David Davidson over at Well Strung Guitars has the guitar. It is the only one. It is very lightweight, and it is one of the coolest Telecasters I've ever played. Nice.
This is my 71 Tele. Got it from my cousin Brad. It's had a bunch of work done to it. 6 saddle bridge. Great upgrade, folks. Don't be afraid to put one on your vintage Tele because the screw holes all line up, so there's no modifying that you can't undo. 4-way switch. Again, surprise, surprise. It's got my signature Tele pickups in it. What do we call these? The Boa Constrictor set, which is basically based off of. Yep, I said that. 53 Tele pickups, basically. Rosewood fretboard, small frets, and a brass nut because I wanted to go old school. Brass nut. It is a 71, but it also has a 4-bolt neck plate. One of the last probably one's built like that.
I think all Teles from the 70s have 4 bolts. I think Telecaster.
By 72, they switched to a 3-bolt.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Well, excuse me.
Now, I could be wrong and you could be right, Dave. You know, that's happened on the show. That's why the show is named after you and not me. And this is what my father likes to refer to as his $300 guitar. This is a 67 that he bought in late 67, early 68 or something like that. And was his number one, gigging for years. And, you know, like we referenced earlier, if you're plugged in next to the old popcorn machine at the bars, it gets a little noisy. So the old man heard about these things called EMGs back in 1985. So he hopped over the border here and drove down to Syracuse, New York, which was like the nearest EMG dealer, picked up a set, brought him back across the border, had them installed, and they've been in ever since. And this is basically the first guitar I started strumming on when I started learning, because I started out on bass, gave it up. Dad said, play my telly until you get a guitar of your own. So I did, and I never stopped until this basically, I even was using this thing gigging a few years ago until my cousin Brad sent me this one going, don't gig with the family heirloom. I will send you something to replace it. All right. Thanks, Brad.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
I would still dig with that guitar.
I do.
The thing is, when you're playing with a guitar that is irreplaceable, I think that's a word, irreplaceable.
That's a word.
Between sets, you don't leave it on a guitar stand. You put it in your gig bag, and you put your gig bag on your shoulders. This way, nobody will steal it.
Yep. And half the time these days, they think it's a Fender Pawn Shop series. Anyways, well, those things are only worth $400. I don't, and look at it. It's all broken and dirty and scratched and paint's missing. Yeah, it's called Character and Mojo. You've been hearing it all night.
Guitar Man 45 says he has a broadcaster like that, Ben.
Damn. Is it a reissue broadcaster or an OG broadcaster?
Yeah, is it a 70th anniversary or is it a real 1950 broadcaster? Let us know.
I'm impressed with both because those reissue broadcasters, they were sweet. And at least in this part of the world, they were gone. They were here and they were gone.
Yeah, you don't really see them. You don't really see them too much, and they're a lot of money. They're very cool. A real broadcaster, which I recently played, again at Well Strung Guitars, which actually belonged to John Entwistle from The Who. I think that guitar is going for $120,000 or something like that, maybe a little bit more. But not because it was John's. It was just because it's a broadcaster.
Sure.
They're a lot of money. So that 1967 Telecaster you have there.
Yes.
Other than the pickups, that is 100% original, correct?
No. The nut has been replaced 2 or 3 times now.
Well, that to me, that's that's
and
that's
the fret. I think the frets have been replaced at least once.
Okay, but
and
that's
all
again. Upkeep. That's all upkeep. Your tires get bald, you get a new set of tires.
Well, honestly, Dave, find a CBS era Strat or Tele from the late 60s that has the original frets that was played at all, because the frets, they're like a fretless wonder to begin with. So you can only do 1 recrown, maybe 2, and then there's nothing left. So yeah. That's basically
Bozique says Bonamassa will buy that broadcaster next time he's in town. He actually is in town right now. He's great friends with David Davidson at Wellstrung, and he's not going to buy that guitar. He's already got plenty of them that he uses on stage, and if he's going to buy something like that, it needs to be in pristine for his collection. It's not going to be one that he's going to gig with.
Right.
So I don't think that's a guitar for Joe.
And we have CNTMP later, something later. Contemplate.
Oh, Contemplator, yeah.
Contemplator. It's like playing bumper stumpers. Canadian fans will get that. It has a COTS and Tele that absolutely love these days. It seems much more adaptable to higher gain settings. Yes.
Because
it's designed for higher gain settings.
It has a DiMarzio chopper in it, or is that what it's called? The chopper.
It's got a chopper T.
Chopper T.
Yeah, it's got a DiMarzio Twang King in the neck position and a chopper T in the bridge.
Huh.
Bruce had a 56 Esquire that he reluctantly let go. They made him an offer he couldn't refuse.
Yeah. Zogby, Joe is asking what you think about all this.
What, all of this whole thing?
Well, I don't know. I think he's been saying stuff to you and you're not reading it.
I'm probably not, because I'm paying attention, because it's my first time on the show and I don't want to look like a fool. So I'm paying attention, and I'm like, the whole thing is about Telecasters, and I'm a huge fan. And again, I do have a question for you guys. The difference between the American and the Mexican Telecasters. What do you think?
50 miles.
As far as playability, it's almost exactly the same. Now, the made in Mexico Telecasters are going to have the metric all the Allen screws are going to be metric. They may not use exactly the same metal, but I believe the neck shape is the same as the American Standard, and I believe they share the same bodies. I'm not certain on that, but I'm almost positive.
Pretty much, Dave.
I think it's in the electronics that's different. The actual pickups may be different.
Because they'd be made at the Mexican pickup plant, probably.
Pots that they use. I mean, they're certainly not using. They're not using Switchcraft. I'm sorry, not CTS pots, and they're not using a Switchcraft jack. But as far as gigging guitars and like workhorse guitars, Mexican-made stuff is very good. I mean, right now, a Mexican-made Strat and Telecaster are going for $1,000.
Yeah, they are.
And it's hit and miss too. Somebody asked me about that the other day on my channel, and it seems like every 5 years, Fender will be like, the Mexican and American stuff, we're using everything the same. It's just one's built here, one's built there. But then they start cutting corners over the next 4 years, and then that 5th year rolls around. Hey, everything's the same again. So it's a little hit and miss. That I will say, I remember before I replaced the saddles on my Mexican, it was still an Imperial saddle. So that was a 2015. So maybe that year they were using the same woods. But for the most part, I think it's like it's the same woods for the necks and bodies. It's just the primo stuff will go, the first quality stuff will go to the US. Everything else goes to Mexico. Pickups are wound in Mexico, which they've been winding pickups in Mexico forever. Like even Wolfgang pickups, a lot of those are made in Mexico now.
They are.
And the FU-tone pickups are made at the Fender Mexico plant. For those who don't know that, I'm not sure I'm supposed to say that, but just did. Yep.
Oh, well, we won't say anything. Bozic says, Nez says, I heard a terrible rumor that Mexi Fender haters apparently eventually the entire production line will eventually move to Mexico and only the custom shop will be made in Corona. Well, I mean, they're heading that way anyway. The Mexican and American, the American Standard series and the Mexican guitars are sharing the same parts. They're almost identical, except for the resale value, because if it doesn't say made in USA on it, it's not going to have good resale value. But as far as guitars, I guarantee if you pick up a Mexican made and then you pick up an American Standard blindfolded, you're not going to know which one is which. You're just not going to know.
Other than there's a bit more finish on the American necks. The Mexicans, they really are going for that whole satin neck thing, it seems. At least on most of their production lines, the Players, the Player Pluses, stuff like that. I was talking to a Fender dealer not too long ago after one of the Fender meetings, and I cannot confirm that all production will be moved to Mexico in the next 3 years. And it'll be just custom shop US stuff. I can't confirm that because I have friends.
Oh, as he says this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I get that.
Hey, you didn't say it. That's right. I didn't say it.
No, you did not.
But
Ben Tom says the Fender custom shop pickups are wound by Mexican women. Now, how do you know they're Mexican and not Dominican or Puerto Rican or any other type of, Peruvian?
That's a good question. It depends. Are the Fender custom shop pickups made in America, first of all? And two, is Fender still doing their program where if you're a good employee at the Mexican plant, they help assist you in immigrating and have a job waiting for you in Corona? They've been doing that over the last 20 years now. Yeah, because the Mexican plant's been around for almost 30 at this point. So
right. Oh, Contemplator brings up a great point. What about the Japanese factory?
All it is now is FSR, Dave, just Fender Special Run. The only production guitar they make is the one that Joe has, the Richie Kotzen.
Richie Kotzen.
That's the only production guitar. Even then, I don't know if you even refer to that really as a production guitar.
I think they're calling it Custom Shop Japan.
Yeah. So anytime you hear Fender FSR these days, they're all made out of Japan. That's where you're seeing like all the Paisley reissue stuff. Not Brad Paisley, but Paisley. Unless we're talking Brad Paisley with the Paisley. Dang it. No, that was made in Mexico. Huh? See how it all comes back around?
Yeah, his Paisley.
Yeah, it is. Have you played that guitar yet?
I have not. I'm sure it's
the Silver
amazing.
Sparkle, the latest one. I was so close, Joe. Literally, my buddy who's a Fender dealer, he goes, I need to make rent. Do you want to buy one at cost? And I'm like, yes, I do, but I can't. Yeah. Ooh, there's the sexy metalhead himself.
Boner Jams. Check him out.
Where all the cool kids hang out. What's going on,
yeah.
everyone? We talking about drop tune guitars? Well, we are now that you're here. You want to talk about your Jim Root Telly? That's a monster Telly. I've played Jim Root Tellys and one single volume knob, EMGs, I don't know, flat radius, like 14, 16 radius on the fretboard. Yeah, flat black hardware. It's not your dad's Telly. I will say that. They were cool.
And before I forget, everybody, please welcome Morty to the channel. My friend Morty here.
Okay, hi Morty. Hey, we got to talk.
Yeah, not me. It's the other one.
Oh, Michael B has a FSR Telly that's made in Mexico. Nice. Okay, maybe they are doing so. I know Japan is just doing special run stuff, but he'll send me a picture. I got one of these. It's one of 6 in Canada. I'm like, oh, great. So it'll be gone before I ever get down there to demo it.
Sure, absolutely. So I have a few Tellys to show if anyone's interested. All right. Well, so this one here, this is an American original.
You're an American original.
Like a 64 style Telecaster.
That's sweet.
It's got the gray bobbin 60s Telly pickups on it. I customized it with steel compensated saddles and heavily knurled knobs. And it's just a wonderful guitar. It's a bit on the heavy side. It's probably about 8 pounds. But, you know, the Billy Squier Don't Say No album cover. It's the front cover is him sitting down in whatever room holding a guitar, a double bound Telecaster, very much like this one, except his is probably a real 1962. But I've always wanted a double bound. This guitar sounds just incredible. Just really, really big sounding guitar. It's got 6105 frets on it. It's a 9.5 inch radius, so you can bend. Just like I said, a wonderful guitar. And I just got this one recently. I was looking for one. I couldn't find one anywhere. Finally, one showed up on Reverb. I contacted the owner, which was a store in, I want to say, Cincinnati, maybe somewhere. I think it was called Michael's Music. And they said, well, we have this brand new one here, but it's shop worn. It's a 2020, but it's shop worn. It's got some scratches and dings in it. I said, I don't care. Can you give it to me for can you do any better than the $2,500 that it was on Reverb for? And he was like, well, yeah, give us a call. Here's the number. And we spoke about the price on the phone. And I wound up getting it for like $2,200 shipped. It's just really, really a great price, a great guitar. I would recommend anyone who's a Telly player who wants to find a really good American-made Telly without going to the custom shop. They make them in several different colors. The Sunburst seems to be the hardest one to find, but you can find. I mean, they have it in red, they have it in Fiesta red, they have it in Candy Apple red, they have it in blue, they have it in turquoise, they have it in all different colors. I think they even make a white one or a blonde one. I'm not sure. But what a great guitar. Yes, Terry's 3G says the Mortycaster. Very funny.
And we got Jay Hannon in the house. Great to see Jay in here.
What's up? 7/8. My man.
Yeah. Jay and Boner Jams had a wicked show last night, folks. Check it. Just do a search for Metal Wednesdays. That's all I'm saying. They had a great producer on.
The next Telecaster I'm going to show you is a custom shop 1959 Telecaster.
Nice.
Now, this is a slab board. It's got 6105 frets on it. This guitar is it's almost 6 pounds. It's about 5 pounds.
You can play that all night.
11 ounces, somewhere around there. I mean, you don't even know you're holding it. Also, with the heavily knurled knobs, the steel compensated saddles. This one has.
Is that a string through?
I'm sorry?
String through? String through or a top loader?
No, it's a strung through.
Okay.
So it's an ash body, a see-through blonde finish. Basically, this is the guitar that you see Robin Ford using when he plays his Telecaster, except his is a lot more beat up. I believe his is a 1960 as well, but it's basically the same guitar. The pickups on this are custom 58s. They just started making 58 style pickups. So the bridge pickup is got raised poles. Just a beautiful guitar, great flame neck.
Mm-hmm. Now, see, you're going, 59, you're going Robin Ford, and I'm just thinking I could stick some mirrors on that or paint a dragon on it.
The Jimmy Page guitar, yeah.
That's why I was wondering if it was a top loader or not. Because I think the 59, wasn't it, you could do either or?
Yeah, yes. You can get them top loader like Jim Campolongo's guitar, or rear loaded like a normal Telecaster. This guitar also sounds amazing. Let's just plug it in and play a big old G chord on a bridge pickup.
Hey, there's Alan Garber in the chat.
Still going.
Beautiful.
I love that.
Alan says he actually got to play Robin Ford's Telly. He says yours looks very close, but in mint condition.
Yeah, this is the way Robin's guitar was when he first bought it. I think he had said that his guitar was almost white, and now it's like a canary yellow from years. And I think he's owned it since like '93, and it's been his main blues style guitar, and that's basically the guitar he plays all the time. So you can imagine his is really yellowed and really checked and beat up. And right here in this area, all the paint is gone because of him. The sweat from picking and it's his guitar is really cool. And I've always wanted to have one like his guitar. So 1959.
As soon as you mentioned the sweat, that's one of the reasons Dad ended up with the EMGs. That was the third neck pickup in that guitar. He used to go through neck pickups from sweating on them so much. A neck pickup would last about 3 years for him, and then he was always searching for neck pickups.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I said,
why? You don't use the neck pickup. You just ride the bridge, Dad. He goes, I play rhythm. I use the neck pickup. I was like, all right, fair enough.
Yeah. That's very cool. Alan Garber is in the house. I guess you just read his his comment. Garbage is our friend Alan Garber. Welcome to the show. I do have one more telly to show, but I'm going to wait a second to show that one.
Yeah, that's pretty much your headline act there, Dave. Main attraction, if you will.
Well, yeah.
I'm jealous.
Don't be. You can borrow it anytime you want.
I'll be right there. I'll be right there.
Since we're near the top of the hour, and we got a bunch of people in the chat here, I wanted to cover that little bit of news that you mentioned to be off air beforehand with our friend Lawrence Petros. Released a new pedal today. Limited release. Hope you're part of the newsletter. If you're not, go to lpdpedals.com, sign up. He only puts out an email once or twice a month. I'm saying, Joe, so you're not getting spammed. But sometimes he releases email-only pedals. And today he released the Soleil Fuzz, which is his take on a fuzz face, but with an added bias control, which makes it much more usable, in my opinion. The most agreeable fuzz face circuit I've ever played. That's my quote. If he's doing a dust jacket, that's my quote to go on it. And there's still, I believe, 2, maybe 3 left as of this airing. So
very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yes, and I will also go on saying that I own a couple of Lawrence Petros pedals. I own the 74 and the 87. I am a huge fan. The 87 pedal is my favorite
That red
at the
channel.
moment. It is a I have the single channel one, and my God, if you've ever played a Marshall JCM 800, uh, this is that pedal in a box.
Isn't there a mini toggle on the front of it, Dave?
There is a low.
Yeah,
a
that
low
goes between your green channel and your red. The green being your JCM 800. The red is a Jose modded Plexi.
There you go. And I keep it on the green because it's it's quieter actually.
Oh, it is.
It's a little bit less gain, which I like. And oh my God,
Yeah,
just
it's a great representation of an 80 of a JCM 800. And
what an amazing. He does his work is amazing. He has made me the what boy.
You think of the other four knobber?
What's his
The Embers?
The Embers. I'm sorry, Lawrence, if you ever watch this, I'm sorry for not remembering. It's just because
he's been dealing with me for 3 years, Dave. He's well used to forgetfulness.
Yes, and I've just started eating funny chocolate, so
again, he's been dealing with me for 3 years, Dave.
So yes, the Embers pedal, which is made, he has one built and waiting for me to pay for. So I'll be getting that in a very, very near future.
Alan says he's got 4 Teles. David's seen them all, I think. A Dragon Tele replica he had made in 2009 that is more accurate than the Fender replica. Not surprised. Fender replica, they don't even put the mirrors on for you. You got to put them on yourself. What's up with that? That's like going to a self-checkout at the Walmart. Like, I don't get an employee discount, folks, so I'm not doing the work. Sorry.
Alan he also says he has a 77 Fender Brown Telecaster with a Parsons B-bender. Now, is that supposed to be the same type of guitar that Jimmy Page used at the Arms concert? And I love that Telecaster. I think his is in early 60s as well. He has that brown one with a B-bender and a matching white one with a B-bender. And I actually saw a YouTube video of the Arms concert in '83 where he broke a string on his brown one and his tech brought out the white one. They're both super cool. Super cool.
Andy's got a Honer backpack like Prince had. Nice.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Nice. So I know, listen, we have about an hour left before we say goodnight, but I'm going to, for lack of better words, blow my load right here and show you guys the last.
Yeah, well, why don't you put your, so they don't see what I'm doing off camera while you show off this guitar.
Well, this guitar is really, this is a 1953 Telecaster. This is the cat's meow of Telecasters as far as I'm concerned.
RFD, real.
53 is the optimal year as far as I'm concerned. The neck on this just is a beautiful V-neck. I got something that not a lot of them have. You notice there is no walnut cap.
I see that.
Cover is. This has a maple cap on it. Maple plug. It's got a maple plug.
Nice.
And if you look closely enough, you can see it if I can hold it.
Now, I didn't know they did any V-necks in 53, Dave, but was that more just because they were all handmade that some ended up more V than others?
Yeah, well, it's not quite a U-neck like most of them.
Right.
And those, for those of you who think every Blackguard Telecaster has a humongous neck on them,
no,
they don't. They're all different. I've played some with very small necks.
The cotton neck's bigger.
You know what? This may not be a V-neck, but it has very, very little shoulders. Like
someone got aggressive with the 80 grit. That's okay.
Yeah. So it is really comfortable. It's not terribly big. Joe has played this guitar, so he could tell you a little bit about it. Of course, it has the original pickups in it. I put brass compensated saddles in this. It is just ridiculous. It's original black guard. This has been refretted, new nut, so it's playable. I mean, all the screws are flathead screws.
Right.
Just ridiculous guitar. And for those of you who don't believe it, it does not say custom shop on it. It is an original.
And one of these days, I will make the 9-hour drive to play that guitar.
It's well worth the drive.
Yeah, I know.
I stopped by Dave's house. What was it, about a month ago, 2 months, or something like that, and Dave starts handing me Telecasters, and I was like, okay. I think it was the double bound was the first one you handed me, and that's a gorgeous playing, feeling, looking guitar. I was like, that's great. Then he hands me another one. Then he hands me that one, and it was like, okay, these other guitars are stunning. It's like somebody handed me the Holy Grail, for lack of a better term. And I don't know, but you understand what I mean. That's one of those things. You pick it up, you strum one chord, and Dave's got this big shit-eating grin on his face, and so do I. And I felt like I was 3, and I don't even know. It was just one of those moments when you pick up a guitar and play it, and you go, yeah, okay, now I understand. I understand what Joe DeMeo would put a thing on the side. Vince Gill plays a 53. Yeah, no shit. Yeah, and Joe knows what I mean by that. It's and when I picked up yours, Dave, I said, "Oh wow!" And you'd shown it on a picture, and I started typing like a lunatic. You're like, just take a deep breath. It's all good. Thank you very much. But that guitar is the real thing. That's what every other Telecaster wants to be. As far as I'm concerned. And playing in a goofy country band like I do, my band Urban Rodeo is a lot of fun. It's a line dance and lunacy. It's a great time. That guitar, someday, I'll hire an armed guard, but I want to play that with those guys. Mm-hmm. I'll have somebody walking around behind me. Nobody's going to steal it. Trust me.
I got this. Jesus, what's going on? Okay, do I have a delay?
Yeah, you got an echo all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come right back. I'll be right back.
I thought I hit something when I muted my mic for a second there, but no, I didn't hit anything.
If you ever get a chance to play that guitar, that's just one of those. It's one of those seminal moments that you pick it up, you play, you strum an open G chord, and you're like, okay, now I get it. I really do.
So, do I have an echo now? Okay, so I got this guitar when I worked at Guitar Center, and I traded probably 15 guitars to get it, all expensive stuff. And yeah, I generally don't, I'm going against what I normally do. I generally don't tell people much about, in social media about my vintage stuff, and I kind of try to keep it close to the chest, but no one knows where I live, so who cares?
Well, I know, Dave, you have a lot of reissue of vintage stuff because you have a vintage kind of vibe to you. Yeah. But and I don't know how much actual vintage stuff you have, but I do know the vintage stuff you do have. It's not just vintage with the capital V; it's a capital intage too, because you have a couple holy grails. So that's all I'm saying on that.
Yeah.
But I will say the first time I ever heard that guitar was after doing a hangout on my birthday one night on another channel, and Dave played some Rolling Stones for me off air with that guitar.
Yeah,
and I damn near teed up because it was one of my favorite Stones.
This guitar normally stays in open G, but it's not right now. I mean, this is
just so chimey.
Incredible. I don't know how that relates over the internet, but that's just, if you were in this room, your hair would stand up.
I can hear a difference between the other Teles. That one just a little, chimey, bubbly, that mid scoopy, but Fender mid scoopy, not Boner Jams mid scoop, Fender mid scoop.
And that was just the bridge pickup. I didn't even hear. Here's the middle. Here's both pickups on.
Jangly. Thank you, Tom. Clear and jangly.
Both pickups on. And I have the tone wide open. And here's the bridge again. Now, normally on a Telecaster, you have the tone wide open on the bridge pickup, and you're going like, ugh, it's like your head smacks you. This is really, it's sweet. It's just sweet.
Tom, that's allowed. You're allowed to curse in the chat when it's related to Holy Grails.
Yeah.
Plus, I know Tom isn't exactly a potty mouth individual. He co-hosts my Monday night show along with Terry, and he doesn't curse much. I curse enough for all three of us, mind you, but yeah.
Well, it's my first time on the show, and I want to be invited back, so I'm behaving myself.
Hey, we had Pete on last week, so you're gold. I love Pete.
So yeah, Dave, that guitar is something else.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the Telecaster that I have. I've been in a like a big tele mode lately. So
you have last couple months now.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining, Dave.
It's all about the Telecaster. All those Floyd Rose things behind me. And it's not my speed anymore. I love them. I love that I have them. They're all guitars of my childhood that I always wanted when I was a kid.
Sure.
And I have them, and I love them, and I'm not getting rid of them. But this type of guitar, the OG, for lack of better words, style guitars like Stratocaster, Telecaster, Les Paul, 335, Explorer. That's really where my head is at, and where it always has been as far as gigging. If you've ever seen me gigging, you've never seen me play with anything with a Floyd Rose on it. You've always seen me play something that says Fender or Gibson on it, or even Gretsch. I have a big old orange Gretsch right there.
Yeah, you do.
It's just what I've been doing. My social media life, my YouTube life, and especially doing these shows. You guys all know me as a Van Halen guy. Now, Van Halen is my favorite guitar player, and I used to be able to play somewhat like him when I had hands, but you'd never see me play live like that. I just played like me. I didn't do the tapping thing live. I didn't do the tricks live. I just, played blues rock style. And these are the best guitars to do that on. They're just Americana. Americana is that's just it.
Exactly. Actually, it was funny because Americana, when I think, just as an outsider, because I'm in Canada, in case you didn't know, Joe. So when I think Americana, my big three growing up would have been Springsteen, Mellencamp, and Tom Petty. When I think of Americana,
absolutely.
And guess what?
Yes.
There's Teles all over that.
Oh yeah.
Dave Grissom played a Tele with Mellencamp for most of the time he was in Mellencamp, and then he went to PRS. Springsteen only plays Teles. And Tom Petty, most of their guitars, they play Rickenbackers, Teles. They play Strats. They play basically only vintage style guitars.
Yeah, and the interesting thing with having seen them live, Dave, for the amount of changes they do, when Tom was playing the Rickies and stuff like that, Mike Campbell was playing a Tele. When Mike brought in the Les Pauls and the Gretches, guess what? Tom switched to Teles because they always have a Tele in the mix.
That's right.
Thomas, Santiago, thank you very much, my friend.
Oh, here, hang on a second. Let me get that in here. And Mike Campbell, his Tele wasn't a Tele. It was a real broadcaster. It still is. It's a broadcaster.
Yeah.
And Fender has made a replica of that guitar. Yep. I don't think you can get it anymore. I think they're all
even
sold
with
out.
the solder burn in it.
Yeah. But his is a broadcaster. Very cool guitar.
And I should point out too, technically Springsteen plays a 2-pickup Esquire.
Yes.
Because he'll be the first one to tell you that. He goes, it's a 2-pickup Esquire. I'm like, all right, fair enough.
G.E. Smith's guitar.
Same thing.
His Blackguard Telecaster is also a 2-pickup Esquire.
Yep.
When I think his mother bought it for him when he was 11.
Yep.
And the story of that is there was 2 guitars. A guy owned 2 guitars, and one was a 335, and the other one was a Telecaster. And the 335 was $200, and the Telecaster was $100. So you can imagine which guitar his mom bought him.
Mm-hmm.
The $100.
And I believe she was making payments on that guitar too.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So, and also back in the early 50s, when you bought an Esquire, it was generally one pickup, the bridge pickup. Now Fender offered, if you wanted the second pickup, because they also, they routed the guitar for the second pickup. So under the pickguard is the route for it. If you send your guitar back to Fender and add $15, they would give you your second pickup and wire it in.
Yep.
So that's why you see the word Esquire, Fender Esquire on some guitars, and they have two pickups in them. It's because whoever bought them originally decided, well, for $15, I'm going to get that second pickup.
And to think too, for $15, like even if you walked in and dropped it off, like where could you, even in the 50s, probably you would pay $15 to have somebody install a pickup for you in a guitar, like regardless, let alone having the factory do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane.
Ben Tom says Jeff Beck with his Esquire is his preference, and I agree. His Esquire was gorgeous. It was great.
Sweet one.
His Esquire was owned by Seymour Duncan, and I believe Duncan traded him that guitar for Telecaster with two humbuckers in it that he had put two humbuckers in, two PAFs in it.
Bent Tom tried to convince his dad to buy a 59 Burst when they were going for $5,000, and he said he was crazy.
That must have been in the late 70s.
Yep.
That's incredible.
Have you told him what they're going for now, Tom?
I can tell you where there's one for sale or actually probably 12 of them for sale for about $375,000.
Mm-hmm. And they're all lined up side by each.
My heart just stopped for a second. My God.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So I have a question for both Dave and Joe. Is there a Telecaster that you played that got away from you? You never got a chance to own it, but hands down, like one of the best Teles you ever played that you didn't get to own?
There is for me.
I have to think about it. I don't know if it got away or it belonged to somebody else, and I mean, not just that 53 you got in your hands there, Dave. But there have been along the way. Our friend Anthony Steele has one from what's that maker that he's
RS Guitars?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
He's got one from them that I played, and he just had that goofy grin on his face that he gets, and he's like, "No, you can't have that one." He says, "I'll sell you this blue one over here that I screwed together out of shit laying around on my workbench, but you can't have that one." So yeah, like those guitars are amazing also. Every now and then I run across you run across a guitar and you look at the price tag and it's like, okay, do I pay my mortgage or do I buy this guitar?
That's why I ask, because I still think about, I was in Nashville in 2019 for Summer NAMM, and we begged off one day, went over to Carter's, and I played a 57 that's about similar shape to Dave's 53, and it was priced at about 25 grand. And I'm like, you know what? I'm like, that's a good price. And
yes, it's
I made the mistake of playing it for about half an hour, and it had it had a pretty aggressive V-neck on it. It was very much similar to my Martin neck on my 28. And I'm thinking to myself, I have a credit card in my pocket with a line of credit that could buy this, but I can't come home if I buy this.
Well, that's just it. I want to stay married, so.
There are those of you who think $25,000 for a guitar is a lot of money. It is. It's a lot of money, and I certainly don't have 25 grand right now to spend on a guitar or to spend on anything. But for a 50s Telecaster, that is light. That's very light in money. That's not a lot of money.
I think it was worth 30 at least myself.
30
And
to
I'm no
30
expert, but I was like, this has got to be worth
a
30.
black guard right now. You can't find one for under $50,000, and most of them are going for $75,000 and up. Wow. Now, Well-Strung Guitars has about 20 of them, maybe more now. Between Telecasters, Broadcasters, and Esquires, they have like 20 or 25 black guards, and they're all on display. There was one 53 there that it was also a player grade. Like it was beat up. It was well played. The neck was ridiculous. It was maybe 6 pounds. Super resonant. I mean, it was the one for me, and it was $55,000. And I, for one moment, thought about selling everything other, other than the Gibsons and Fenders, selling every guitar I own and almost every amplifier just to get that guitar. And I probably could have done it. Probably could have done it if I would have sold everything that's on that wall, that whole Van Halen wet, dry, wet rig. Maybe. Yeah, I might have been able to do it if I sold everything and got the money for that. But I thought about it really hard. And then I said to myself, well, I don't need that guitar as much as I love the sentimental value of some of those guitars. Because not everyone, but some of those guitars sentimentally to me mean the world to me. And I couldn't do it. So there you go.
There was a one of the History Channel TV shows, Porn Star, whatever it was. The guy came in with I think it was a 53.
Yep.
You remember that? I think David, you and I talked about that.
Super clean.
Yes. It was his uncle's. He found it in the basement or something like that, and they gave him $13,500 for it. And he walked down the block with it to Cowtown, and the guy gave him $53 for it.
So the story goes, and if you haven't seen this episode of Pawn Stars, the guy comes in with this poodle case, and inside of it was almost pristine 1953 Telecaster. Shows it to the bald-headed guy that I look like, and says, "Well, I'd like to get $13,000 for this guitar." So the guy says, "Well, I it could be worth that. It could be worth less. It could be worth more. I don't know. Let me get my buddy to come in and appraise it." So the buddy from the music store comes in, and his eyes automatically go, "Wowga!" and says, "Well, this guitar is worth about $50,000." So the guy, the Pawn Star guy says, "Well, now that you know what it's cost, I'm willing to give you your $13,000." And the guy says, "Well, I want $50,000 for it." And the Pawn Star guy says, "No, I'll give you your $13,000 for it, not a penny more." So the kid says, "Well, that's worth at least a semester in college." Okay. Should have just taken it. She should have just taken it back and sold it to the guy at the music store for $50,000.
Yeah.
That's what he could have done.
Well, yeah. That was one of those times you're like, "Hey kid, I'm screaming at the TV." That's when I want to start throwing my sneakers at it.
Yeah, that's crazy, but yeah, it happens. And these guitars are out there. They're still out there. They're under beds. Sure. They're David Scher, thank you for the super chat.
Thank you, David Scher.
Didn't say anything, but he's given us some money. Thank you so much. These guitars are up in attics, in closets, under beds, in barns. They're everywhere. They're everywhere.
Dave, can I tell you I have a barn find story for you, but it's about a Gretsch. I got to tell you the story. You'll get a kick out of it. So when my son, who's 21 now, when he was a kid, probably 6, 7, 8 years old, I drove him over to a play date, right? So the kid he's playing with, his father comes out and he says, "Hey, your son tells me you're a guitar player. I have this guitar and I don't know what to do with it." So it was a Gretsch Clipper. It was in the original case, original everything, original strings on this thing. The guy's mother bought it, right? And it still had the original tag hanging on the headstock, $125, right? From Fred in Brooklyn, from Fred Gretsch in Brooklyn, right?
Yeah.
So I know, right? So I'm looking at this thing, and I know a little bit about Gretsch's, but not a whole lot. But you got something. And I said, listen, dude, I have a conscience here. So you have something here. He goes, yeah, my mother bought it way back when, and then she got sick and she passed away, and I threw it under my bed, and it's been there for however many years. I think it was a 61 or something like that. So anyway, I was like, I can't, I don't have enough money to buy this from you right now. So he goes, all right, no problem. So a couple of weeks later, I go back there with my son, and he goes, hey man, how you doing? That guitar I was showing you about? I said, listen, I just want to get rid of it. Either you take it or I'm going to put it out for the garbage man. I'm like, what? And he says, make me an offer. And I was kidding. I said $50. He goes, sold. Right? So I won't tell you. I told him, listen, I'm going to sell this. He goes, I don't care. Go ahead. So I put it on eBay, and I don't want to tell you what I got for it. So,
Okay.
I got 1,000 on eBay.
You can tell us off air after the show.
Okay, fair enough.
I had a similar experience when I got my first electric guitar, looking at ads in the newspaper, as you did at the time. I was in high school, and we found a Les Paul for sale. Ooh, okay. So we went over to the guy's house, and he lost all negotiating power because as soon as he opens the door, he says to my father and me, he says, okay, we got to make this quick. I'm leaving town, and my ride's getting here in 15 minutes. And I saw the pile of stuff he was taking with him. And I went, okay. So basically what he was asking for the guitar, he also had him throw in the amp, which was a cheap Hohner amp, but I also got an original MXR Distortion Plus pedal and a Boss CE2 chorus pedal. So
and you still have the CE2, right?
I still have the CE2. Yeah. Sadly, I got rid of the guitar and the amp blew up, and the distortion pedal I flipped immediately because guess what? A Distortion Plus into a Fender Vibrolux I was playing at the time sounds like ass because it needs to hit more of a Marshall. So I went into high school and went, this is what Randy Rhoads used. And another guitar player went, I'll take it. And I went, sold. I think I sold it to him for $80.
There you go.
Yeah, it was 1990, I think that was.
At that time, enough recreational paraphernalia for, I don't know, a week.
Crazy enough, I was straight edge at the time. I know it's hard to believe, folks, but that was not by choice as much as limited access.
I hear you.
But yeah, so the deals are out there. Definitely the deals are still out there.
It certainly is. It certainly is. So it's 9:34 right now. We have 28 people watching, and thank you for sticking around. Hang on a second. Terry 3Gs has something to say. If someone is looking for an unfinished, unhardware installed Gretsch's from the original plant, Big D guitars might still have full bodies around.
That's right.
Cool. Very cool. If anyone has any last moment questions or they want to tell us about their Telecasters,
I'm going to do a shameless plug this Sunday, Dave. I have friend of ours and fellow tone guru Rob Welch from Tessie Switch joining me on my channel.
Awesome.
We're going to be talking about a new partnership with another friend of ours. I think it's been announced because Rob from Tessie had a brand new FU tone guitar hanging on his wall today. I think they're doing a little something together, Dave. And I'm not saying my sister put them together, but my sister got them together.
Oh, how very cool. Yeah. Oh, very cool. I'm going to do a shameless plug as well.
Please do. It's your channel, Dave. You can't do it here. Where can you do it? Over on my channel, of course.
October 6th, which is the first anniversary of Eddie Van Halen's passing, I'll be on Fruitcake Tony's show, Halenville, and I'll be talking about my my time with Eddie Van Halen every time that I've got to hang out with him, and in a lot of detail, not every detail, but a lot of detail, something that I've never really been able to do on my previous show. So on the previous channel I was on. But
That's 1 week from yesterday.
those of you who are interested in finally hearing my Van Halen stories, check out Halenville, Wednesday, October 6th. I'll be on that show talking about it. It'll be fun.
Awesome. Yes, and I will be tuned into that one for sure, because I've heard some of the stories on air. I've heard a couple of stories off air, but I know there's still... Well, Dave, we didn't spend a week talking, so you didn't give me a step-by-step, is what I'm saying. So I'll be tuning in to fill in the rest of the story.
Absolutely. Sounds good.
Yeah. Well, as much as we can tell on this platform, because there's certain things, statute of limitations and such, we can't talk about.
That's true. I like to keep this channel as clean and as far away from all the drama as possible. So
yeah,
absolutely.
We keep it PG-13, which means if you accidentally curse, it happens. We're not perfect.
Right. Joe, do you have anything you want to add?
Sure. October 4th, Urban Rodeo will be doing the line dancing thing at the warehouse in Amityville. And you come down and check that out. It's really it's a trip. It's just as entertaining for us up on stage as it is watching the dancers do that thing. It's just, I am in constant shock how many people come out to do that whole thing and see the band. And it's just so much fun for us. My front guy and my drummer and myself, we're all former first responders, so that's kind of cool for us. And our bass player is a trip. We let him play with the men, so to speak. But no, Frank's a great guy. But watching the dancers do their thing. And every band I've ever been involved in, it's been great. It's a lot of fun. I mean, I've got to play Shea. I got to play the Meadowlands once. It's just neat stuff. Sitting there like this with your mouth open, looking at the crowd. With this bunch, they're part of the show. And that's something completely different. So, if you get a chance to catch that, by all means, please come on out, say hello. And it's just an amazing time. It really is. It's so much fun.
I have a couple of things on line dancing. Having grown up with a gigging musician, my dad played country music through the 80s. He got out of it around 87, 88, but he was still the president of the local musicians union. And I distinctly remember when line dancing hit with Billy Ray Cyrus. And friends coming to the house, fellow gigging musicians, Joe, and they're just, the sky's falling. It's all over. We're done. This line dancing is taken over. We're done. It's not, But the funny part, and then we fast forward to, let's say, 5 years ago, where a few of my rocker friends started a country gig on the side. They come up to me at the next gig where, it's one of those 5 bands all playing metal on a gig. Right. They come up to me, like, we played a line dancing gig. I'm like, oh yeah, how'd it go? They go, there was so many women. Because we play to, if we see a girl in the crowd, she's dating one of the other band members. It's like we play Sausage Fest. He's like, the women, it's great and fun. And they were just telling me, it's a blast. And they pay.
It really is. I'm not a line dancer. I'm just a Telecaster picker. My front guy and my bass player are both line dancers. And it's a choreograph. They pick out specific songs for specific dances. You can't double it up. So the set list has to be a certain way. Okay, I get it. But they come out by the truckload. When things got lifted here a couple of months ago and everybody's allowed to go out again, we played it. We did a parking lot party at Go West, which sells boots and hats and stuff. Great store. Anyway, so we're doing it in the parking lot. I figured 40, 50 people will show up. 500 were there. We had traffic backed up on Sunrise Highway for about a mile and a half. My poor wife is heading to her sister's house, and she goes, I'm stuck in traffic, and it's you idiots. You got traffic backed up for miles. So yeah, it's. I never thought it would be this much fun, and it really is. I can't say enough about it. It's just, and the community is great. They're very family orientated. There's never any problems at any of these shows. Nobody's setting shit on fires. Nobody's carrying a gun. It's none of that kind of crap. It's just really kind of cool stuff. So that's the shameless plug for Joe Zogby and Urban Rodeo.
That's awesome. And we do have a lot of viewers from your area. So who knows? Somebody might say, hey, I saw you on the Nez.
Yeah.
I came on down.
Come on down, say hello. You know,
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun. It really is.
Awesome. Well, we'll be back here next Thursday, of course, and Ty will be back with us, and I'm sure we will be talking about his escapades the last 3 days. 2 days ago, he saw Wolfgang in where was he?
South Carolina.
Yeah, well, I guess all the gigs in
Columbia?
South.
No, the other two shows were in North Carolina.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
But he's at that border. So
exactly. So he saw Wolfgang as the main act. Then last night he saw Wolfgang and Guns N' Roses. Tonight he's watching the Rolling Stones, and tomorrow night I believe he's watching a Van Halen tribute. So it is the week of watching shows, going to shows for Ty. I'm sure
he's going to sleep for a week after this week.
Yeah, I'm sure he's not going to have any ears.
Raleigh. Thank you, Jay. I think that's where the GNR concert was in Raleigh.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's at Raleigh. That's
and then Charlotte is where the Stones were playing.
So anyway, thanks for watching the show. If you don't own a Telecaster,
get one.
I recommend going to get one. They're a lot of fun. They definitely fit anywhere in a mix on a record. They're not, they also, you can't hide behind one. Whatever comes out of that Telecaster has definitely got to come from your hands because it's not a forgiving guitar. Very cool. And it's also a very humbling guitar. So check them out. Jay says, "Bleh."
Yeah.
Anyway, have a good night. Have a great weekend. We will see you next week. Joe, stick with us. We'll say goodbye off air.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And on that note, wait a second.
Cheers, folks.
Wait for it.